Got a pretty interesting piece of news. I think it's one of these things where you're reading it and you're going, oh aye, but the more you read it and you realise just how big it could be. But, well, I'll say, I don't want to tell you what I think before I've even looked at it. Well, I've already obviously listened to it and read it. Right, this is came from Mark 5G Steele. Mark Steele. And, so the cat is out of the bag and the globalist mass murder agenda is uncovered. The C-40 electronic assault weapons deployment is now exposed. So, a link there. So it's Jim Ferguson reporting after attending the explosive court case in Leeuwarden, Netherlands. What I witnessed, this is from Jim Ferguson, was unprecedented. So we'll just go over that. Inside the courtroom, global elites were named in a case involving crimes against humanity, genocide, biological warfare, collusion with the media. Names like Bill Gates, Albert Bourla, that's Pfizer CEO, Mark Rutte, former Dutch PM, now NATO head, Klaus Schwabb, World Economic Forum. So, there he is there.
This is Jim Ferguson. I wanted to give you all a little bit of an update. I attended the court case at Leeuwarden, and it was really quite remarkable because of what was being said. And it was really quite remarkable because of what was being said in terms of the whole COVID pandemic, the rollout of the mRNA gene therapies, sometimes they call them vaccines.
So they're talking about the vaccines. Do you know, I nearly got my channel shut down for talking about, and I'm not even really into this that much. It was mostly truck spotting I'd be doing, but I got my channel. I can't even. Oh, I have to be careful. I think I was talking about in terms of the male and female thing. The argument was going on about the boxer when they were. See, I can't say. So we were arguing about what defines biological sex, and the connection between that and this well, not a connection, but it's not a vaccine, right? So the same people that are sitting arguing about boxers and biological sex and using that word that I can't say because I'll shut my channel down, didn't seem to see, or maybe perhaps we're not getting the problem with the vaccine. I can't even explain this. You just have to work it out for yourself.
And against people that are very well known in the public eye, like Bill Gates, like Albert Bourla, the CEO of Pfizer, Mark Rutte, the former Prime Minister of the Netherlands, who's now heading NATO, as well as others like Klaus Schwabb of the World Economic Forum. There was accusations of genocide, biological weapons being used, collusion with the media. In fact, there are 2 journalists who've been named as being colluding with this whole narrative as well.
2 journalists named, yeah.
Going to develop further. I mean, we are starting to see the cracks beginning to show. Born out, then we're talking about crimes against humanity. The exception of Bill Gates sent their own lawyers to listen to the evidence, to try to counter it. But if the judge makes a judgment, as they said they will, in approximately 6 weeks, once they've had a look through the mountains of evidence, that was being presented to the court, then I think it's going to develop further.
So I'm just
everything that was unfolding.
Trying to abbreviate it for time.
So
it
thank you to
too long.
People. We are standing absolutely shoulder to shoulder with you. I want to thank
there is another really interesting bit I want to share with you.
And I'm going to be going back to the Netherlands, to get more information and to find out exactly what judgment. And of course, if that happens, they might go on to the stand to give evidence, to counter the things that they've been accused of. But these are really very serious accusations. Bill Gates, we could see Albert Bourla of Pfizer, we could see Klaus Schwabb and all these others being summoned to the court. And of course, if that happens, they might go on to the stand to give evidence, to counter the things that they've been accused of. But these are really very serious accusations. And what's incredibly important is that Arno van Kessel...
Well, we're going to... The bit he gets to hear...
Very serious accusations.
Is quite worrying. And
what's incredibly important in all of this is that Arno van Kessel, the lead lawyer, was arrested at his home 4 weeks ago by specialised armed police officers. That's right, they blindfolded him, they handcuffed him, they detained him, they took him in, and they put him into a maximum security prison without charges. They're just holding him. They, in my opinion, tried to stop this court case from going ahead. What is it they're so frightened of? What is it that...
So they actually arrested, blindfolded, handcuffed, arrested. Is that metaphorical? I think you can realize... Well, okay, let's not go into that bit. This is what we're really talking about, is the lockdown from 5 years ago. I wasn't even able to talk about this. They've arrested the head lawyer, the chief lawyer. Yeah, terrible.
I think you probably know as well. But they failed to stop the court papers getting to the court. So the case was able to proceed. People come together because it's the only way we're going to push back against the darkness that is the globalist agenda that is unfolding. It's all connected. The central bank digital currencies, the digital ID, the 15-minute Gulags, or smart cities as they like to call them. Central bank digital currencies, the digital ID, the 15-minute Gulags, or...
The 15-minute Gulags. That's brilliant. So we need to start using this language, and it's related... It relates to the 20 zones, the clean air zones, and the surveillance cameras and the masts and the battery facilities. That's a crazy thing. I mean, that's nuts, but I don't want to go off on a tangent about that. But the 15-minute Gulags. Now, so you say, like, I tell people stuff, and that you meet people all the time, and they, oh, well, look, I met a guy today, and he didn't know that 20 zones weren't, but the red sign says, I says, I can go and bloody draw a sign for you. It's not a legal speed limit. So the 20 zones are an affront to democracy, right? Let's not get obsessed with that at the zone, the 20, the sign. So what he's talking about, you've got to say to yourself, how does this affect me and you? Well, it affects me and you because of the 15-minute Gulags. You don't need to leave your Gulag. You want bread. It's there. You get everything's available. You don't need to leave. So you're in prison. You're actually in a 15-minute prison. The war on the motor car. That's what I want to see net zero and the war on the motor car stopped. And what he's talking about here, Jim Ferguson is talking about, is, well, as far as I can understand it, COVID, well, pandemic 5 years ago.
It's all connected. The central bank digital currencies, the digital ID, the 15-minute Gulags, or smart cities as they like to call them, the geofencing, the control mechanisms. All of these things are designed to take away our privacy and our freedom and our ultimate destiny. But we're fighting back.
Says, well, you've got to think, like, I think about my daughter, 3 sons, and I've got a daughter. So my daughter, my 3 sons. So the thing about me, I can't go anywhere because I'm in a 15-minute gulag. My daughter is in a 15-minute gulag. And this is not conspiracy theory. This is in the World Economic Forum website. So this is the plan. So but the NIMBYs are fighting against us, and that's the people that go to these council meetings and get roads with speed humps and 20 zones, the surveillance. They don't realise what they're doing. The guy that reported my log burner, the numpty, the morons. They're morons. So we have these morons around that are feeding this, but they're irrelevant. They're just fools for the globalists. Yeah.
Uniting, we are getting people together, we are pushing things forward in a really quite dramatic way, and we're getting to the truth, and we're fighting for freedom, we're fighting for humanity, because, as I always say, this was, in fact, a war on humanity that was declared a few years ago. The darkness and the motives behind the people that were responsible for this. There was millions of people around the world who have lost their lives, who've been injured, their businesses destroyed during the lockdowns. The people responsible for this pre-planned this, and they need to be held to account. And that's why the court case in Leeuwarden was so incredibly important. The lying mainstream media, they're not touching any of it. They won't go near it, because why? Well, they are part of the problem. They censor, they control the perceptions and the narratives. But the free, independent media are definitely getting the truth out there, and so are all of you. Well done to each and every one of you. You are quite literally an army of freedom fighters and truth tellers, and I appreciate every single one of you. So until next time, this is Jim Ferguson, reporting from Ireland, the beautiful Emerald Isles. Erin go bra, unity is strength. And I'll speak soon to you. Thank you. Bye-bye for now.
Right, so that's Jim Ferguson there. So I think, well, it sort of means that they're, well, let's be confident, but the negative side of this is it's probably not going to work. I hate saying that. I like to be optimistic, but these are very powerful people. And why did we not get Tony Blair up at some kind of trial? Why did he not get dragged up? He was the one that started all this stuff. Anyway, so they'll go after Boris, and we've got wee Jimmy Krankie over the care home deaths and the unalivements. Donald Trump as well, actually. Well, I don't think he was very keen on lockdowns, was he? But I think he might be in trouble as well. If it depends how far this goes. But for me, it's the numpty local councillors that go along with all this shit. It's like Mark Steele. I'll show you Mark Steele. Hold on. Mark Steele. He talks about just the incompetence of these local councillors. So you get somebody working for the council. I don't know what they get. How much do they earn? And they get a job there, and they don't really. So somebody comes along with some of this stuff, like we need to put these surveillance or clean air lights or whatever up in Newcastle or Glasgow or Stirling or any freaking place, right? And they're just so dumb that they go ahead with it all and push all this stuff. So that's what annoys me. It's this. Well, go and look at make friends with Mark Steele on Facebook. Mark 5 Steele, 5G Steele. I mean, it's the numpty councillors with the So in Falkirk, somebody says, we need the 20 zones. Oh yeah, that's a great idea. So what they did in there, they actually used, I'm not bothered going and showing you it now because I'm going to end this report. But they showed this campaigners for 20 zones, and it was 9 cyclists standing there, like 9 men, right, males, standing there, cyclists, saying that everybody wants 20 zones, when everybody doesn't want 20 zones. So the clean air zones, 15-minute gulags, is what I'm going to start calling them, and I think that's a great, that's a phrase that I've learned from Jim Ferguson. Did that come from Mark Steele? No, I think it come from Jim Ferguson. 15-minute gulags. Like the woman, when I get my treatment in Glasgow, right? I go to this place and she claimed she was a communist. Nobody wants to be a communist. Like, it's 25 million people died in Russia. And I says to her, look, no, I'm different for you. I've got skills that you don't have. You've got skills that I don't have. We cannot be the same. And she just didn't listen to me. And she was thick. So there's a lot of people that are thick. You know, and they don't get what's happened or happening or about to happen or what could happen. And I don't even understand it all. I'll be honest with you. I don't totally understand it all. I think it was very highly suspicious how so many people, there was a small amount of people made a lot of money off the pandemic. That cannot be right. That is a disaster, right? It's so-called, it was a virus. I'm not going to start going on about it because it'll take too long, but people made lots of money off it. Bill Gates and all his pals. And they made millions and billions and millions of massive wealth transfer. You always follow the money. On that note, I'm ending. Always follow the money. Always follow the money.
Previously, I would probably be thinking definitely a man. Bizarre. A man or a woman, whereas...
Bye. I mean it this time, I'm going. Please like, share and subscribe. And fight against 15-minute gulags. 15-minute gulags! That's what we'll call this video. 15-minute gulags. Fight them.